Now, for the interview with the questions of the community, now I'm just opening the document. Okay, so let's start as usual. My viewers are already used to it. Maybe you can introduce just yourself for our viewers with your name and maybe then also the platform in a few words.
Sure. Hi, I'm Simona. I'm the PR and Marketing Communications Manager within VIAINVEST, and I also manage investor support team. So if any questions arise, you can always reach to me. And this is my colleague Jelena.
Hello, I'm Jelena. I am a product manager. I work for VIASMS Group for 3 years, and I have developed 5+ products.
Jelena has developed VIAINVEST from the scratch, like she's our genius.
Very genius and intelligent person, yeah? Very important person to the company, I think.
She's very important. All the critical questions goes to Jelena.
I see. Okay, so maybe you can just, there are different views, of course. Some know a lot about P2P, but maybe you can also, in a few words, just explain what is the platform VIAINVEST. We are talking about, what is it about? How can you invest and how much money can you make as investor? So what's the interest rate, maybe?
Maybe Simona, it's one question.
Yeah, sure. So VIAINVEST is a P2P platform where we as VIASMS Group, we list our loans issued in 4 different countries and make these loans available for investors to invest in. The minimum investment is 10 euros, and right now we list our loans with the interest rate varying from 10% to 12% annually. So investors can choose which loans are more suitable or more safe or more interesting for them. And why we have built this product, one of the main aims is to make investment process accessible to everyone. If before P2P become very popular, people associated investing with some banking products, with some complicated graphs and something associated with the, stock exchange, and that seemed like a very, very complicated thing. Then now even very unexperienced people who do not have any links with finance or something, they can try platforms and try investing and manage their personal finance in more easy and accessible way.
Yeah, okay, great. So the interest rate is between 10 and 12%, you said. It depends on the country. I think Polish, I also looked a little bit through it, so Polish credits are like a little bit higher, I think, with the
Poland
interest
right
rate.
now is listed for 11%.
11%.
Annually.
And where can you find the 12%?
12 was for Spain.
12 is Czech Republic.
Czech Republic. Okay.
12.
Okay, great. So, but the problem might be if somebody puts only Czech Republic in the auto-invest, that he will not find enough loans, for example, to be invested with all that.
Everybody has to invest in Czech loans with the higher interest rates.
Yeah.
It
is the same system.
Yeah, of course, for sure. Yeah. It's no problem. It's the way it is. Yeah, it's the free market. Okay, great. So now we know the average interest rate to think about 12%, and maybe you can tell us what kind of loans do you offer, and maybe you can describe all types in a few easy sentence for our viewers and me to understand. So which kind of repayment, for example, do they have? Monthly, at the end, annual?
Mm-hmm. Okay, currently we list loans, consumer loans, with the loan term from 7 days to 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
To 30 days.
30 days, these are short loans.
Short,
and
because we have one single payment loans and installment loans currently.
Yes, that's true.
Single payments loans are from 7 days to 30 days.
Okay, so it's just maybe paid back in 7 days, or even at least in 30 days.
The initial borrower can choose borrow money for 7 days or for 22 days or
whatever, but at least in
days.
1 month the investor gets the money back.
Investors gets money back when initial borrowers will repay the loan. If initial borrower will take a loan for 7 days, that means he will repay the loan.
So it depends, but at least it's 30 days and not more than 30 days. Because it's between 7 and 30 days.
Yes.
Okay.
And if the loan repayment is delayed or extended, then In the case of delay, then there's like this 30-day period after what the buyback guarantee comes into force and the investor gets the invested principal and earned interest back. And if there is a case of extension, then there's these 91 days until which period the borrower can extend the loan, and after 91 days, a little button, initialize buyback, appears on the loan profile, and investor can just hit the button and get the money back, of course with the interest earned.
With the interest earned. So also if there is a delay, you told me right now, like 30 days, I think it's just possible for the investor to make, for the borrower to make a delay. Yeah, and these 30 days are also paid some kind of interest rates,
Yes,
also this 11% or whatever.
Yes, both.
Yeah.
The
So
actual
as long as the money is put into an investment, I also receive, however you call it, the 11%, 10%, 12%, whatever interest rate.
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
And if I don't use the initial buyback button, it will also continue to be invested, and it continues with the 11% or whatever, with interest rate. Okay, and how long can it continue if I don't press the initial button? I mean, is it like...
No, until the loan is repaid.
Yeah, okay, but if it's not repaid, for example?
Investor can also extend the loan for some period and then stop extending and delay for another 30 days, and after these 30 days of delay, the money comes back to investor. Okay. So it can be mixed, like he can use the first period, like 30 days like initial loan period, then for example 60 days of extension, and then 30 days of delay, and then you get the money back for all the periods, of course with interest.
Sorry, maybe some questions are just because I don't understand it, or I am sometimes confused, but maybe some viewers are as well. And for example, I never used this initial buyback button, because I just was too lazy to search all the loans, and if there is something to press. But if, for example, it gets a bad debt loan, what happens then? Then I get the money back, or if I don't press it, this button, do I have to press it one day, or?
This button, the objective of the button is only one. If you would like to go away from the platform and you need your money. Yeah,
but if I don't need it?
Then
I don't need to press it because I can continue all the time.
Yes.
And one day it will be repaid, or one day I will get the buyback guarantee, or one day...
Yes, extension means that our borrower is just postponed the date of repayment, the maturity day. Has postponed the maturity day. And if the loan is extended, the borrower don't have a delay. Everything is fine.
Okay.
And he can continue pay extension fee, and every time we postpone the maturity day. But if one day the borrower will repay the whole loan amount, principal plus interest, that means that we close the loan agreement and your investment also is finished.
Okay.
Also, as Simona mentioned, the borrower can take a loan, then he can extend for one period, for the second period, and then he doesn't pay the extension fee for 30 days. That means that a loan is delayed for 30 days, and then the buyback.
Okay, and then I get the money from VIAINVEST.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this was the question I did not understand right now. Sometimes I'm a little bit confused, but it's also a lot of platforms for you to understand it. The problem is, we have so many platforms as investor, and then it's sometimes just difficult to understand. So if I do just nothing, if I just don't use this function, I will receive the money in any way, because the borrower may pay it, or if he does not pay for 30 days, for more than 30 days, of course, you pay it, of course.
Yes.
So that's the point. So I don't need to look on this initial buyback button. I just collect the money and have my monthly income with it, my passive monthly income with it, and that's it. Okay. Yeah.
Only if you need money, if you would like to take money from platform and to put somewhere else, then you need to look at this initial buyback.
Okay, but for my goal, my personal goal is just to make money each month. For example, I have a little bit more than 10,000 euro in the account of VIAINVEST, so it makes it about interest rate 100 euro each month. So that's my income. So if I just want to have this 100 euro each month, so I just need to do nothing, then take this 100 euro from the account. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't need to care about this
don't.
button. Okay, but now we are still in the question. This was one kind of loan you offer, this short-term loan. But what else?
Single payment.
The installment loan.
Yeah, another one kind of loan which is listed on the platform is installment loan. That means that our borrower can can borrow money from 3 to 12 months and repay for the long period with the same amounts.
Like a monthly payment.
Monthly payment.
Monthly payment, okay.
Yes.
With the interest rate addition.
Yeah. Annuity.
Okay.
And all the things and features work with these loans also. The buyback, the regular buyback, and also the initialized buyback also works for these kind of loans. So nothing changes for investor. Everything is the same. Only the period is longer.
Okay, so
the initial loan period.
I'm still in my head with one question, but I think now it starts for me to understand it. So if it's a bad debt loan, if it's just you can't get any money from the borrower, he's maybe bankrupt,
Yes.
Then it's a buyback.
30 days.
30 days and then it's a buyback.
Yes.
Then there is no initial
If the
button
loan
or
is
something
delayed for 30
because
days,
the initial
always
is
buyback.
only if it's expanded.
Yes.
Extended. So
Yes.
okay, and not if it's like a bad debt loan.
Yes.
Then it's a buyback.
Automatically, you don't
Automatically a
need to
buyback. I don't need to do. Okay.
anything.
So I don't need to worry about this function
You don't
anyway.
need
I don't need it. Okay, great.
In-
Okay, then it's okay.
In any case, investor will
Yeah.
never see
Yeah.
the loan going into bad debt or something. These are only 30 days, and after 30 days, the money
It's a
comes
buyback.
back.
Okay.
with the
Yeah.
buyback.
Okay. Great. Then I don't need to worry about any longer. So now I understand it. Okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Learn something here. Yeah. That's why I'm here. Okay. So what else? We have this short-term loan, this installment loan.
Yeah. By now, this is kind of it, but we are planning to list new kind of loans in the nearest future. But
Okay.
maybe we will tell about these loans when the time comes, just
Okay.
not to confuse anyone.
Okay.
Because until today and currently, the loans listed on the VIAINVEST is, as Jelena said, the short-term loan, 7 to 30 days, and the installment loan, like 3 months to 12 months.
Okay. Great. And the payback is like, I understand it, in any case monthly. Yeah, because it might be the short-term loan, which is some kind of monthly repayment because it's only short-term,
Yeah.
and the other one is also a repayment monthly. So it's great for monthly income, of course,
If a
for the
loan is
investor.
not delayed, then yes.
Yes, of
payment
course.
is
If it's delayed,
monthly.
then maybe it's
Yes.
2 months. Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Yes,
so
yes.
it's
You're
great for the
right.
passive income, for the
Yes.
monthly passive
Yeah.
income for the investor, because that's one of the great things about P2P, because you earn your money like every month, and
Yeah.
that's good for the investor, of course.
Mm.
Because we also have to pay the coffee somehow. Yeah. Okay, not this one, but in the coffee shop. Okay, now to the many questions of the different community members in social media. I think there was one question from Aktien mit Kopf community. I hope I got all questions from this community because the post was deleted, I think, and I'm not sure if there were other questions, so I'm sorry if I did not get all questions in this case. Evie Reggie asks, if an investor gets a 10% rate out of it, how high is the interest charged to the consumer who actually has to pay back the credit? I think that's an interesting question.
Yeah. So our interest rate for borrowers varies among countries, and it also depends from legislation in each country. So maybe
Yeah.
Simona
and then
is
the
right.
average. We had these average numbers. For example, in Latvia, we have a 7% monthly interest rate for borrowers. And for example, just to compare, in
So
Romania,
that's per year, is it? Just to compare?
Per month.
Yeah, but how much would it be per year?
7 per
90.
12, 90.
90.
90.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
But it's for Latvia case. But for example, in Romania, which is not yet listed on VIAINVEST, but just to compare, it is
38.
38
month.
Per month. Okay, that's
it's really high.
And for example, in Sweden we have two products. One product has interest rate 7 per month. Other product 18 per month.
Okay. Yeah, but it has to be high because some investors might worry because it's so high. Yeah. But for me, it's just some kind of security feeling because I need the spread between. Otherwise, we can't use the
Yes,
buyback and
you're
can't
right.
feel sure about the buyback. And you always have to mention and think about for our viewers that there are a lot of bad debt loans as well. Yeah, and it only works because of this spread. Yeah. Okay, so very interesting. And so the spread is enough to save the buyback and the company, of course.
Yes, it's our normal price of money. As I mentioned, we issue bonds. Bonds are issued at a rate 12.5.
Annual interest rate. That's for bonds. Yeah. So this.
Okay, at the
Yeah,
Nasdaq,
if compare with the income that money that comes from VIAINVEST, it's pretty the same.
Yeah, great. Okay, then maybe a question from my friend Tuan. He's the blog owner of Finanzpolster. Maybe you know it. He's just started, I think, some months ago, and it's really growing fast. Community. I will also do an interview on his blog, I think, afterwards about this Baltic trip, and the B2B platforms in general. And Tuan asks, when will you reach break even? Of course, it's a general question, but it's also interesting, I think, for our viewers on all platforms. Yeah. So when is break even? Or we talked before, you are already profitable.
Yeah.
Maybe you can say some words about that.
Well, in terms of financial situation of VIAINVEST, we always consider VIAINVEST as a part of group operations. So all the results and everything can be seen in our annual reports, and investors must understand that, as Jelena already mentioned, that VIAINVEST is not a separate business. It is a part of something much bigger, and all the funding and everything comes from different sources. So we do not focus on establishing VIAINVEST as a separate huge business that gains a lot of profit or something. It is just another part of a group, and if we talk about financial security and stuff like that, then a group secures income and everything with other funding sources and relies for VIAINVEST. So that's kind of it.
No, as I already mentioned, VIAINVEST is a source of funding for us, and it is important to review group's financial statements and to understand if the group business performs well.
And the group is profitable.
Yes.
Just to say it in the video, because we talked about it, but in the video we don't have it. So we have to say it also to the viewers.
And the group started operations in 2008, and as I mentioned, group issue bonds, and we did already 2 emissions on Nasdaq stock exchange, and there are our financial statements are available for public, and you can review all our financial statements, review our turnover, profit, and make a conclusion about the security of the investments.
Great, so I hope some critic viewers might do this, might watch this, and maybe you comment it below. Would also be interesting for me, of course. Also
the latest report for 2017 is also available, and there you also can find information about our future development plans, about this digital banking product and everything like that, because our CEO in the statement talks about this. So
okay, maybe you can give me the link afterwards, because then I can put it in the another video.
No, about this break even, as I told, we don't want VIAINVEST is profitable, because it's only source of financing. But the break even, we plan it will be at a break even this year.
Okay, so this year also VIAINVEST
will be at the break-even. Because what does it mean for us? We Loan Originator pays interest to investors. The platform serves investors and also makes some marketing activities. That means that we just ask Loan Originator pay us for our services, and we are free to set any charge.
Yeah, of course, because it's a holding, so it's whatever you are, one group, you can put it however you like.
Body.
Yeah, of course, sure.
One entity.
So maybe it's also the question what's intelligent for the financial report, what's intelligent for the taxes, of course. Sure. Then there is the next question. I think the loan originator is not interesting in this case because it's all in-house.
Yeah,
How
but
to
if
evaluate,
I can say a word about
yeah,
it,
okay.
it's actually we have a whole department of risks that has developed their own complicated algorithms how they evaluate risks in all countries. So this is kind of a big deal for us. We really concentrate on risks and stuff. So we really pay a close attention to that.
Our head of risk is a PhD in mathematics.
Okay,
Yeah.
super, great.
We use very excellent scoring models, not this ordinary, but our models can learn from
Yeah, we adapt
itself.
this
Okay,
machine
so-
learning things.
Yeah, okay. Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay, then he asks, Duan asks, if you face an economic downturn, whatever can happen, of course, what impact does it have on your company and on the B2B market, you think?
Well, the specific of consumer lending is that I think in economic downturn it usually does much better than any other company because
we started in 2008,
which was
here
the
in Latvia.
worst
It was
paper.
very significant crisis here in Latvia. We had this real estate crisis at the beginning, then it influenced the
banks.
banking crisis,
Mhm.
and then one of the biggest bank went bankrupt, and the government overtook the bank, and the government borrowed money from European Commission to help the bank, and the government forced to cut expenses. Banks were forced to cut expenses.
Mhm.
We have huge unemployment here in Latvia.
Yeah, it was
It
very
was-
bad.
It's very bad. But business started in 2008.
Yeah, I think so. And as the viewers might see by the videos, one after another, I'm really critic, and I also ask like critic questions.
Yeah,
you saw it
sure.
before, yeah. But in this case, my personal opinion is the same. Maybe the viewers commented under the video. What do you think about it? But I think the same way, because I also asked Pandora, of course. Pandora also started about
Yeah.
2008, yeah, in the crisis, and they also said it was the best time for them. Yeah, because like banks did not give loans, and the
Yeah,
people
yeah.
needed the loans. Yeah,
That's true.
and so it was a good business, and it was really profitable. It was just one of the best times. So maybe it's even better for P2P lending
Yeah.
if there comes an economic downturn. To be honest, yeah. So I think one important thing about it is because I'm of course also invested on the stock market because I play diversification. Yeah, in all kinds of assets. But I think there is nothing comparing to it, yeah, because if the stock market goes down, it doesn't need to be like the same in the P2P market. Yeah.
And also, I would like to say that alternative finance really benefits from economic downturns because they have the opportunity to develop some new tools and new opportunities for investors and regular people, something better than banks currently offer. And
Exactly, that's the
yeah.
fintech thing, the software, the
that's
intelligent software, of course, and you save a lot of money because the software does it and we don't need the employees. Yeah, so it's
I
much
think
cheaper, it's much smarter, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, fintech also started around the crisis, around that time, and there was huge boom, and all these companies started to develop, and all these alternative funding and investing in other ways of finance. They kind of started there.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Yeah, great. Okay, so maybe the next question, additional question was from me, of course. I tried it before, but now I tried again. Yeah. Do you have enough capital? We already talked about this, but what I would really know concrete is what would happen to the investor if the platform goes bankrupt. Yeah. So what happens for the case the group goes bankrupt? Just for the case. Yeah. We hope it will not be like that. Yeah. We all hope, you because of the jobs, of course, me because of the invested money. But what would happen if it goes bankrupt?
So I can say that all the liabilities of platform will be overtaken by the group, and the group will refinance all the creditors. But if you want to go deeper in the details, then we probably need to get some advice from our legal counsel and just to explain the process. But we can guarantee that VIAINVEST Group guarantees overtaking all the liabilities from VIAINVEST.
Yeah, of course, but what happens if VIAINVEST goes Bankrupt?
Oh, VIASMES.
That's the question.
The group.
Yeah, the
Okay.
group.
So what happens in the regular process of going bankrupt? Probably there's some how it's called in English. The process when all the creditors can apply for their funds, and then taking into account the order how they have applied, then they get the money back. But that's also that depends on the legislation of the country where it happens. If the group is registered in Latvia, then it depends on the legislation of Latvia. And if you want us to describe the exact process step by step, then we probably need to ask our lawyers.
We don't want to really comment these legal actions because we can say something wrong.
Okay, I can understand that, no problem.
yes.
But maybe we can ask deeper.
Sure.
Because it would be interesting, just because the difference is to the platforms. Or one main question would be if there is a direct connection between the investor and the borrower. For example, if some platform or a loan originator goes bankrupt, like it had been at Mintos with Eurocent, of course it's a different situation because Eurocent is just a loan originator, but at least it goes between the borrower and the investor. And in this case, the investor gets back the money direct from the borrower. So that makes a big difference. If so to say, if for example a group goes bankrupt, the money goes to the group because then it will be gone, because it's like you have to repay everything from the group, But if there is a direct financing between the borrower and the investor, the investor has the chance to get it back directly from the borrower. So this would be the question, I think.
Okay, maybe
what I can comment about the agreements investors conclude with the loan originators. It is an assignment agreement. That means that investor buy a claim
right.
Claim right.
Okay.
And that means there's some kind of collateral. And at the same time, we have another kind of agreement. It is a loan agreement. Investors conclude a loan agreement with a Polish loan originator, and there is a same principle that the investor lend money to the loan originator, but the claim right is a kind of collateral. But if you would like to know the process, how the whole process will be managed in case of bankrupt, we cannot.
Okay, no problem. Maybe we can make an extra video with a lawyer. Maybe, that's no problem. Okay, then let's continue with the next question from the P2P Kredite forum. I think you know the people very well because they are very active.
Maybe we also participate in the forum.
Maybe you even know the person who asked the question. It's called Polanga. Polanga asks, can you please comment on your assignment rules on loans auto-invest function? I think it's a little bit a difficult question to understand, but I already found out what he means. I think it just means, is it like a first come, first serve principle, or how do the investors get the loans by the auto-invest? Because there is a lack of loans sometimes, so what's the algorithm behind it?
Jelena, you or me?
No.
Who is served first with the loan?
There is a queuing system.
Okay,
this is a keyword, and we can distinguish two kind of auto invest. One thing, you can create new auto invest, and also you can update your existing auto invest for new auto invest portfolios, and also for just updated auto invest portfolio. We run one algorithm. As soon as new is created or the existing one is updated, we at the same time we run the algorithm who checks if there are loans listed on the platform that meet your criteria. The second thing is already existing portfolios without changes.
Old ones.
This is another queue.
Okay, and which queue gets served first?
There are different criteria. really.
There isn't the rule that.
There is no one rule.
Yeah, there is no this. So first comes, first serves,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something.
I think that's the question.
There's the mixed set of rules that gives kind of opportunity for everyone, even for old portfolios, for new portfolios, and updated portfolios to get some loans at the time. Because if we would serve like oldest portfolios first, then probably they will buy out all the loans and no new investors get the loans. So we try to mix and provide somehow equal opportunity for everyone to get loans at the time.
Okay. Yeah, great. So there is no trick like.
No. You
because
don't
for
have
example,
to be the first or
yesterday
the
at
last.
Swapper he said, okay,
objective.
Yeah.
Okay, no, great.
We just want our investors are satisfied, and we are looking
Perfect.
for different algorithms
We are
and run
updating
them.
this process all the time because we can see that a lot of investors, their funds stay uninvested. So we look for the problem, why it happens.
Okay. Because yesterday, for example, the CEO from Swapper said, okay, the bigger amounts, people with more investments, of course, are served first. For example, at Swapper.
No, we don't have such a rule.
So this was the kind I understand it. So nobody says, okay, lawyer, it's wrong what he says, but I understand it like I understood it like that. And people can also watch it in the video what he said on his own. So I think it's like that.
I can add that we issue loans all the time during working date, and all issued loans are many times per day are transferred to the platform. All new issued loans, and that means that at the time when we receive new loans, then Auto Invest need to check if these new loans arrived meet some Auto Invest portfolio criteria.
And then it's shared. Between them. Okay, great. But I must say I have no problem to be invested. I mean, of course, there may be some €100 not be invested, but okay, in general, the most of it is invested all the time. So
of course, investors also need to understand that if you only choose to invest in Czech Republic loans, then of course these loans go away like in seconds. Everyone wants to invest there, and the supply is not that huge as, for example, Poland.
Nobody wants to invest in Poland, but I do, So
I also do.
You also do. Okay, great. Because I think I don't have the problem with this tax. Anyway.
I can add that, for example, as I told, there is the range of different algorithms in terms of Auto Invest, but one of them is really strange. I think will sound. It's random, just random. It's run through all portfolios randomly.
Okay, I see. Okay, then some questions followers sent me private. This was, for example, from Katja. What are your expectations regarding the future, next 5 years of P2P in general?
Well, in my opinion, I think that platforms will develop significantly and will start to offer other services for their investors. For example, as we maybe develop a digital banking product that can minimize costs for our investors, then I think other platforms will add other currencies. That's nothing new. A lot of platforms do that, and maybe they will provide another services like currency transfers and I don't know, something else. So it will not be only P2P lending and that's all. It will kind of grow with the other services.
I think so too. It's just getting smarter and fintech more and more around. Okay, then we already talked about it, I think, a lot, but maybe only in a few words. Your company, including future plans, hiring employees, spreading to other loan originators, countries, and so on. I think we already discussed it, but maybe you want to say one sentence at this point.
Yeah, in terms of group, we have huge development plans, and I think VIAINVEST investors will also benefit from your product.
Okay, great. And in the presentation, I think we talked a lot about this topic. Then about that's interesting, about the Baltic economy. So Latvia, Estonia.
I think we are, in terms of economy, we are growing pretty fast, and a government is working to encourage startups to grow here and developing the startup environment with the legislation, with some support tools and so on. So I think we will see a lot of fintech startups coming from Baltics. in terms of general economy, I don't know, Jelena, maybe you have some opinion.
No, but here in the Baltics, we are focusing on services. We don't produce a lot.
I think it's especially digital services, digital
Yes,
services
different
and
services. Banking also is quite developed. But yes, unfortunately, we don't produce a lot. And I think it can be improved. And our government make more to promote entrepreneurships in a production area.
Okay, great. And about the countries you are invested in, so like you offer the loans and so on, yeah. So it's like Spain and so on. What do you think about these countries? Maybe we want to mention some of them. What are your ideas about the future of Spain, for example?
Spain, I think they're slowly recovering from economic crisis. They also experienced something similar as Latvia, but I think they're recovering more slowly. In terms of consumer lending and P2P lending, I think everything depends on legislation. Because legislation may change very quick. We can see that also in Latvia, where government is strictly regulating consumer lending industry, and they are also working on developing legislation that will regulate P2P lending. But unfortunately, we are not sure when this legislation will come into the force. But I hope that it will give us some answers to questions all platforms are wondering about but are not sure, and maybe giving some interpretations of their own, for example, about taxes or questions like that. And but in general, I think that this industry will definitely grow, and Latvia, for example, has a huge potential. And in terms of consumer lending, I think we will definitely stabilize our positions, as we are a known player in consumer lending markets and present for a long time in these markets. And I think we will show some great results.
Okay, great.
Okay,
So
maybe we are not ready to give us some macroeconomic projection about all our countries where we operate, but we definitely understand who is our customer, what products they need, what is going on with legislation in these countries.
Because it's important for the risk of this company, of course, to know about it. That's, I think, also the reason for the question from the community members. They just say, okay, what you have a lot of knowledge, of course, about these countries, because you invest a lot in these countries, with the company. So they are also interested about your meaning to it.
We understand our competitors. We analyze the market, but we are not ready to say how the country will develop.
Yeah, nobody knows, of course. For sure. Okay, so maybe some final questions, because I think it's a very long interview right now. I really love your platform, but you will understand that investors would like to invest in different P2P platforms, besides different allocations anyway. We talked about it before because of the diversification. So are there any other platforms you would recommend, maybe at least 3, just for diversification? Yeah, so not VIAINVEST, so additional to VIAINVEST, yeah?
What can we recommend?
We would like to recommend to invest in VIAINVEST.
I thought like this, but that investors want to, have different platforms maybe, because they don't want just one company to put all money in. What would you recommend? Is there one you say, I think?
Well, probably investors must be careful about platforms that kind of appear suddenly and then kind of disappear. And I would not like to say some names or something, because it's unfair to other companies working here. But I think investors need to check background of each company to see their results before, and to see their, of course, CEOs, to get to know their plans and to understand the business, because there are a lot of companies that may want to benefit from the P2P popularity and all this booming situation. So we just encourage investors to be careful and to analyze information and to look at the background and to dig for more information. Of course, to reach out to platforms to find out their opinions. And
I also not ready to say in words where to invest, but I am also investor. I'm also investing, and I can share my experience. I always.
This would have been the next question.
I always try to find financial statements of the company. I would like to understand how long the company operates, what markets the company operates, what kind of product the company offers. For me, it is very important. Also, I know, for example, there are some very risky markets where this legislation is not complete. Where where we know that default rates are very huge, and then I analyze all the factors and make a decision, invest or not, or maybe. But you are right; it's very important to diversify. Okay, I can invest only in VIAINVEST because I know everything about it, but sure. I also invest in other platforms.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you don't want to say names, of course, yeah? Okay, of course we don't give in any way any investment advice in these videos. Everybody has to make his own decisions, of course. But our viewers might be interested how you are mainly invested, yeah, just in general. So maybe not names, but also in the stock market or in real estate, or maybe you can just give us some information, because it's also a good chance to have such intelligent persons with us who could give us some advice about investing.
Yes, I have invested in a land. When we had this banking and real estate crisis, a lot of real estate were sold on the how we call them, when after the court decision.
Okay, yeah, the auction. Okay, yeah,
yes. And I bought land, and now I sold it with a huge profit.
You look very happy. You look very happy about it. Yeah. Okay, great.
From my perspective, as I always try to, advertise P2P lending to the people of my age, I think it's a perfect way to try investing, because you can invest with a low amount of money, like. Try P2P investing with the 10 euros, and I think for young people it's perfect way to find their own path into the finance world. And I also invest in VIAINVEST and in the other platforms, and kind of consider maybe invest something in a real estate, but that's of course requires a higher amount of investments. But I think for millennials, and it's perfect way to invest with the P2P lending.
So too.
And I believe that it's more secure investment type P2P platforms than stock market. Because I tried to invest in stock markets, but it was very.
You need to monitor
profitable.
that process all the time.
Well, I can say that because I'm also a big investor in the stock market, and I like it, but.
And I understood that I cannot predict how stock market will perform, because it's very volatile, and these messages which affect stock prices are very strange. Sometimes are strange.
For example, Donald Trump, he's very unpredictable, but his
yeah.
tweets can affect everything. So.
Yes, of course. But I think on the stock market you have to look on the long term, because like Warren Buffett said, okay, in time of 30 years you make 6% each month. Yeah, if you make a diversification like on an index or something. Yeah. So I have very big diversification, and so I think on the long term, and then it feels also good to me.
And also, when there are different graphs. No, when you start investing in stock market, you usually analyze some statistics. You read a lot, and sometimes you read such a scary graphs when you can see how bond price is connected to the assets, and you realize that we are almost at second crisis.
Yeah, but I think on the long term in this case, and economy will grow, and at the end, yeah, I think
At the end,
as well as in
sometimes.
B2B as well in B2B as on the stock market. Okay, so but you also invest in other P2P platforms we don't want to name right now. Okay, great.
We can. I can say that I have tried all the platforms operating in Latvia just to find out what they're offering, and
Okay.
I am really satisfied with some offers here in Latvia, and I'm proud we have such companies as our competitors or friends or something. So I think Latvian platforms are a great choice to invest in.
Okay, great. Latvian platforms without a name. Yeah, so maybe some viewers might be interested to sign up on your platform. Of course, I will put also a link below the video in the description. Okay, great. So thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming to visit us. We're
yes,
very happy for investors coming.
Thank you
to
for
us.
watching us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for watching us. Yes, of course. And always happy to be here. I think I will be back one day, and then next time I will find it easier.
And if you have any additional questions, you always can contact our customer service.
Yeah, and maybe also just comment below, and maybe you watch the video.
Yeah.
I will send you the link, of course, and then you can also maybe answer.
We try to be present in investor communities as P2P Credit Forum. We are also there, and Lars has a Facebook group, and we are also there. And
so you already read my questions, yeah, or the question of the community. You saw
we
it also in the group, yeah. I see.
Yeah. So if anything arises, just reach out to us. We will try to answer as fast as we can.
Okay, perfect. So you can comment under the video, and you will answer as well.
Yeah.
Or I just give you the link, and then you will answer.
Definitely.
Okay, great. So thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.